This weekend, Killers of the Flower Moon, the latest Martin Scorsese film, drops in theaters. With that in mind, I've been doing a deep dive into all of his scripted films, watching all of them, writing extensive notes, even reading 2 different books to try and go as deep on these movies as I can. I have watched hours of interviews with Martin Scorsese himself. What that means is I've written more notes than I can include in a single ranking for all of these movies. So with some of his more popular films, more discussed films, I wanted to put out some extra videos diving in deeper on some of these movies that you guys have been asking me about as long as I've had a YouTube channel, but some of them I've never even seen before. So here, hopefully I can put out several of these reviews to do a little bit of a deeper analysis, share more of my thoughts on these films. With that in mind, right now we're going to talk about The Wolf of Wall Street. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Share your thoughts on The Wolf of Wall Street. This will be a spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie if you're over the age of 18, and then come back and join the conversation over here. If you don't know, this movie is crass, vulgar. It is not one that I can at all in any good conscience recommend to children, or even many of you maybe shouldn't check out this film because it is intentionally depraved. With that in mind, I had actually never seen The Wolf of Wall Street in its entirety until just a few weeks back. I started to watch it several years back, and then it's a long movie. I wasn't able to finish it, and it's not a film my wife would want to watch, in which case I didn't end up finishing it on that occasion. So finally, I was able to watch this movie that people have been raving about for a decade now. Now, some people were really surprised that I didn't see this movie when it first came out. Please stop and consider, when The Wolf of Wall Street came out, I was a youth pastor at a church. Not a lot of youth pastors taking the kids to go see Wolf of Wall Street. Did a lot of movie nights, took the kids out to go see all those Avengers movies that were quite popular with the kiddies. But movie about real life story about depraved Jordan Belfort snorting cocaine out of all sorts of places on women's bodies and all sorts of other depraved. That wasn't exactly the one that I was rushing out to go see in that phase of life, and a reason that I wasn't really rushing to watch it in general, but I have finally now watched it. As you're almost certainly aware, this movie is based off real life events and the book written by Jordan Belfort himself, The Wolf of Wall Street, and you can listen to it for free if you sign up for a free trial of Audible at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. If you're like me, you like to read with your ears, not your eyes. I am a huge fan of Audible. I'm constantly listening to multiple audiobooks at the same time. And if you're interested in doing a deep dive into The Wolf of Wall Street, you can listen to it for free at audibletrial.com/Sean Chandler. If you sign up for a free 30-day free trial, you can get any free audiobook of your choice. I haven't listened to the book yet because I've been diving into so many different things and having to read Scorsese books, but it's one that I want to catch up on as soon as I finish my deep dive into a few of these other things. The link is down below in the description if you want to check that out. So let's dive in and start talking about it. This isn't really a review. It's kind of a review. It's more of kind of analysis, me kind of freeform talking about some of these movies. So take that however you would like. And what I found fascinating about this movie, watching it in the midst of all of his other films, is just how much it really is following the formula that he used for Goodfellas, Casino, and then later The Irishman.
The style I felt originally was more like Goodfellas. I had done it. What more could I bring to it? And we found a way, and that was ultimately through his character.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't realize just how much there was this formula of sorts that he uses to these criminal stories about this triumphant rise and then this tragic fall. Well, it's not, I don't know, tragic's not necessarily the right words, but in the sense of the proper sense of the term in terms of dramas, a tragedy, in which case you have these central characters that are deeply flawed, have success because of some of their strength and willingness, or maybe not even strength because of their willingness to do evil, but there's something about them that leads them to great success, but also their inherent flaws, their unwillingness to change, their attraction to sometimes the wrong women. And that flaw inside of them stops them from being able to turn back. And they just keep going, and you have this tragic fall. And Wolf of Wall Street follows this same tragic trajectory as these gangster mobster stories. I really wasn't realizing that was going to be the case. I wasn't expecting that. But it also plays so very differently because it's a very different type of criminal. And that's almost what makes the movie so uncomfortable and fascinating, because you have such a wildly charismatic lead character, and he's so fun to watch his antics. The real life Jordan had this charisma that just drew people to him. He's being played by one of the greats of his generation, Leo. As Martin Scorsese said, so much of what makes it work is that Leo was willing to go as far as they felt they could with the movie. That just doing things that you're like, well, that A-lister is doing that thing. Like it's right there. We just saw that thing. Wow. And they went there, and that's what makes him so magnetic. The Jordan as a character and as a person, as well as the performance from Leo.
Right away, first 3 or 4 minutes of the film, you could see right away this is going to be something unexpected. Like every other shot, there's something shocking going on.
But he's an awful person. What he's doing is so bad on so many different levels. The whole plot of the movie is that he is cheating all of these people, taking advantage of them, taking their money without any sense of anything, like no ownership of the depravity of what he's doing. And not just depraved in the more traditional breaking social norms with his sexual and drug use, but what he's doing is so wrong and evil with financially speaking. But it's that it's like showing the way that the white collar criminal, the criminal that's on Wall Street, the wolves on Wall Street, hey, because they're doing some things terribly different. Hey, I buy stocks. I've got mutual funds. I'm in that world. You perceive of them so differently than these characters from Goodfellas, Casino, Irishmen, where it's so much easier to just immediately put them in this violent criminal category because they're murdering people. And taking advantage of an old person and cheating them through a shady, dishonest market trade isn't the same thing as shooting them in the face and hiding their body so their family can never discover what happened to them. Those aren't equal things, but they're also both very evil acts. If you play out, like when you see it in a movie, like, well, I mean, it's not shooting people in the face, but if you play this out, if you've had a family member or yourself, a loved one, be swindled by someone, cheats them out of their hard-earned money, that's all they have, and it was taken, that stays with you. Even if it's not, even if $5,000, if all you have is $5,000, you just feel hopeless, and it sticks with you for the rest of your life, that sense of hopelessness, of betrayal. And this story, the way that it's told, intentionally doesn't linger on that. And so you spend the movie like, woo, yeah, we're on this wild, fun ride. With this awful person that's causing that pain and that wound all throughout almost the whole runtime of the movie. It never cares about that person that he's hurting. And we're on the roller coaster ride with him. And that's so intentional in the way they do it. And that's so much of what makes the movie like, oh, why is it that we're okay with people like this? These slick swindlers, snake oil salesmen, that they're so fun and charismatic that you ignore all the evil that they're doing.
In order to do that, you have to have somebody who's playing that part be prepared to do anything. And he did. I would provoke him, he'd provoke me, and we'd go further. If you read the book, we could have gone even further.
I don't know. There's just thinking about so much of that. And that of all the forms, of all the way to do it, they chose this one. And as other notes I kind of wrote in here, there's like the sheer audacity and irreverence of the depravity is so infectious in this movie. Just like just shocking behavior, images, audacious, bold lies, everything's so over the top, and there's just something alluring about hopping on that roller coaster ride. And then you start to realize, why on earth did so many people go along with what he was doing? How on earth were so many people okay with like selling all of these ridiculous stock options that they knew they were just taking people's money? Why was that? For the same reason that we're watching the movie and having fun watching such deplorable characters. Why do we like such awful people so much? There's something there that's infectious and interesting. But I think one of the things that Scorsese seems to have such an eye for is just spotting these real life stories that have these real humans that are more flamboyant, more layered, more over the top and interesting than most movie characters. And then he takes them and he puts them in his movies, and there's just something, they're so real and grounded because there's a reality there. There's a history there. There's a specificity there. There's details there. But they're also so fascinating to watch. And he's so good at finding those people that you can put in a movie and tell their story, and you're like, what is this? How did this happen? And you can be just as thrilled on the ride up, entertained by the ride up, and at the same time being like, yeah, we got to have a fall. I'm glad that this is happening. And some of it, especially with Jordan, it's in such a different category because he did his time, but now he's out there. Like his ads for his sales classes and stuff show up on my Facebook feed all the time. And I don't even know what to make of that. How much has this guy actually repented and turned and been like, that was evil? Not just paid his time. He did. That's not the same thing. That means he shouldn't be in jail. For me to want to buy your sales course, not that I'm looking to buy a sales course, but like I need to see that you actually realize that like what you were doing was so wrong. And it's tough to do that with someone that is, their whole thing is lying to people and manipulating people and whatever that is. That's his whole thing. That's even what he's selling you, kind of. It makes you feel so different about it. To give you a different perspective. Like he's totally mainstream now. That's his gift. People are drawn to him. But should they be? I don't know. But so anyway, for me, I perhaps because it is so typical Scorsese, but also so atypical. I think that's what elevates this one for me. And whenever I put up my ranking, I think you'll start to see this, that when Scorsese does something that's very much aligned with his past, but that just a little bit different, just a little bit of a different twist on it, those are the movies that stand out the most for me. There's a few of them that are all great, but all kind of a bit in the same category. And so they're way high up, but I think some of these ones with a little bit of a different flavor just hit a little better for me. Like I said, this isn't really a review. It's intentionally just like, I've got so many more thoughts than I can squeeze into a ranking. So, and I watched it about a month back, so I can't be as detailed as I would be with a review the day after I watched a film. Unfortunately, I wish I'd had a bit more foresight or really more time. A month ago, I was about to head off to a film festival. I wish I had a bit more time to have done some of these videos as a lead up to this more so than what I'm doing right now. But now I'm just rambling to myself. Fantastic film, great film. I would say top tier Scorsese. Some of that is just the pure fun of it. Some of it is that this was him at his peak, applying his bag of tricks to something just different enough that it didn't feel like it was rehashing some of those same themes that were in some of the gangster movies for me, but all the heights of those films with that magnetic charisma of our lead character, our lead performance that is so engaging, but also, when you think about it, sickening too. So top tier. I'm not planning to put scores on these movies, but you're talking about one of the greatest directors of all time and one of his greatest films. We're obviously at the top of the A's on this one. Let me know what you thought down below. Also, you can check out some of my other Scorsese content somewhere around here. I'm hoping to be able to get out like 4 or 5 of these. I hope so, but I'm running out of time. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV.